Top 20 lies of Benghazi. I asked Pat yesterday, put together the biggest lies in this and things that people have to remember. So he put 20 lies together, and it's just the audio. Want to start at 20 or you want to start at 1?
Let's start at number 1 and work our way down.
Okay.
Because they're all good.
Okay, so these aren't ranked.
Not necessarily, no.
Okay. So here are the top 20 lies.
Susan Rice.
Our current best assessment, based on the information that we have at present, is that in fact what this began as was a spontaneous, not a premeditated response to what had transpired in Cairo.
That's how it began.
And that's not true. They knew in advance. Testimony now proves that.
Here's the president.
What we do know is that the natural protests that arose because of the outrage over the video were used as an excuse by extremists to see if they can also directly harm U.S. interests.
Another lie they knew at the time.
And we know that they weren't natural protests. There were no protests. We know now. There were no protests, and they knew that then. The people on the ground in Libya said when they started hearing about the video and the protests, they were shocked because there was no protest.
We're like, what are you talking about? Stephanie Cutter.
But the entire reason that this has become the political topic it's because of Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan. It's
Okay, so it was Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan's fault. Back to the president.
And that is what we saw play out in the last 2 weeks. It was a crude and disgusting video.
This is a real
sparked outrage throughout the Muslim world.
Okay, this is a really important one because yesterday in his speech, in his press conference, he said this isn't true. We thought it was at first, which is a lie, and then I corrected it. We sent somebody to Capitol Hill. They testified. Well, first of all, they didn't testify that had to be dragged out of them by a congressman. They were under oath, and then this speech happened 2 days later, where he was still blaming the video. So.
Yeah, and this was September 25th, a full 2 weeks after September 11th.
Important thing, his defense is we corrected it. We told, as soon as we found out, we started saying that it was a terrorist attack. But this was unfortunately 2 days after the example he cited.
I know there are some who ask, why don't we just ban such a video? And the answer is enshrined in our laws. Our Constitution protects the right to practice free speech.
Okay, still promulgating that particular lie.
But more importantly, he's now lying about two things. He's not only saying the video, he's also saying some are asking, why not just get rid of a video? So he's saying some are asking, let's get rid of freedom of speech. Nobody was asking that. Nobody was asking, let's get rid of freedom of speech.
Here's Hillary.
Some have sought to justify this vicious behavior along with the protest that took place at our embassy in Cairo yesterday as a response to inflammatory material posted on the internet.
Just gives you kind of an idea of how many times they went down this road.
But it's not only that, they're trying a different angle here. On this one, they're trying a different angle. They're saying, hey, some are saying that that's an excuse. That video was an excuse. That one also didn't work.
Victoria Nuland from she's a State Department spokeswoman.
We can all condemn this reprehensible video.
So who was involved so far? We have 2 members of the State Department, 3 members of the State Department. We have 1 political operative, and we have the president. We also have the Secretary of State.
Now the president's spokesman.
We find the video that has been so offensive to Muslims to be disgusting and reprehensible.
Okay, but maybe we don't have the Secretary of State saying it more than once.
Here's Hillary again.
To address the video circulating on the internet that has led to these protests.
She did say it more than once.
Okay, then maybe you don't have Susan Rice.
Well, maybe, but...
It was a violent protest outside of our embassy sparked by this hateful video.
Total lies.
Maybe not.
Total lies.
Jeez.
Maybe you don't have Jay Carney saying it more than once.
And it is in response not to United States policy, not to, obviously, the administration, not to the American people. It is in response to a video.
Okay, but wait a minute. Maybe you don't have him saying it 3 times.
Now, we do not yet have indication that it was pre-planned or premeditated.
Okay. That is, first of all, we now know they had information that it was premeditated days before the attack. In fact, one of the people in Benghazi called our State Department and said, I am very afraid of what is coming. You have to pay it. The top 20 lies of Benghazi. We're at number 13, and here comes a doozy.
And CBS has learned that the U.S. mission in Libya repeatedly asked for better security before last month's attack on the American consulate in Benghazi. A State Department officer says there were 13 confirmed security threats in the 6 months before the attack. Ambassador Chris Stevens and 3 other Americans were killed 3 weeks ago.
Well, we weren't told they wanted more security again. We did not know they wanted more security again.
That is so
amazing?
astounding.
It's astounding.
You know what? When you go through these lies, and you really watch them, and now that we know the truth, now that we know that they did have a stand down order, they did have forewarning from multiple sources. They did know what was going on in the ground. They did know that this was a extremist and an Al Qaeda attack. They knew all of those things. To watch these lies and look how good they all are at lying.
Oh, they're brilliant liars.
It's astounding.
Yeah.
It is astounding. Yeah. It's not the first time they've lied. Because if you're lying for the first time, you're uncomfortable with it. These guys can look in the camera and absolutely convince you that they are telling the truth.
Definitely.
It's incredible. All right? But I bet we couldn't find 4 times that Jay Carney...
Hey, you'd lose that bet.
The White House and the State Department have made clear that the single adjustment that was made to those talking points by either of these two institutions were changing the word consulate to diplomatic facility because consulate was inaccurate.
This is so amazing. He gets very specific here.
Yep.
He is, I mean, this is Saul Alinsky. You come in and you go very specific on one thing, and then everybody believes that everything else, because he is so specific. We only change one thing, and here's what that one thing was. No, there were 12. And
no,
including,
but he didn't specify those other 11, so
amazing.
He couldn't have changed any others.
It's amazing.
They're really good at it.
Yeah.
Really good.
Here is the president.
And make no mistake, we will work with the Libyan government to bring to justice the killers who attacked our people.
Yeah, how many have been brought to justice?
Well,
so far?
We know the guy who made the video is in prison.
The guy who made the video.
The guy who made the video
Thank
is
goodness
in
we got
prison.
Him.
We got him. We got him.
So America's safe from him.
You had a video that was released by somebody who lives here, sort of a shadowy character who is extremely offensive video directed at Muhammad and Islam. We had nothing to do with the video.
Play it again. I'll pay the extra fine for this one. Play it again. Listen to what he just said. Listen, he starts to use the P word and stops himself. Listen.
You had a video that was released by somebody who lives here, sort of a shadowy character who is extremely offensive video directed at Muhammad and Islam. We had nothing to do with the video.
Almost
was he going to say the prophet?
The prophet Muhammad.
I think you might be right.
You can hear it. He
directed
says it.
at the prophet.
The Muhammad. He stops himself. That's amazing. Okay, here comes lie number 17. David Axelrod.
It's not a matter of blaming. That's just the fact. Sometimes intelligence has to catch up with the reality on the ground. This was one of those cases.
Okay, so what he's saying here is it's not we're not throwing intelligence under the bus. It's just that their intelligence was that this was under attack, but we found out that this is just this. They were wrong. This is a video.
Yep.
Hello, intelligence. You better wake up. You in the military, you better wake up. Please contact a member of the press. I can't say for that. We will report it. We will tell the American people. You will not risk things in vain. We will do it. We have demonstrated already that we will. We will protect you to the best of our ability. Please contact us.
All the way up to number 18. Stephanie Cutter.
First, I appreciate the faux outrage from the RNC and the Republican Party.
Wow, making it about politics.
Yep.
Here is Hillary.
Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans?
I love that false premise that she sets up. Was it because of a protest? No, it wasn't that. Was it because of a group of guys out for a walk one night? No, it wasn't either one of those things.
It was the information that you had at least 3 days prior when they were begging to secure this because they knew they were going to come under attack.
Surely we couldn't find the fifth thing from Jay Carney, though.
No, I don't
White
believe
House
we
spokesman.
ever could find
Jake, let's be clear. These protests were in reaction to a video that had spread to the region.
So can I ask a question? Stop. Besides documenting the lies at this point, why is anybody showing up at the White House press conference anymore? Besides entrapment. Really? I mean, isn't it an entrapment? You could say every question now at this point I'm asking Jay Carney would be to entrap him. That's all I would ask him. I wouldn't ask him for any real information. He has proven himself to either be completely incompetent, completely out of the loop, or the biggest liar out there every single day on every topic.
Mm-hmm.
We know now he's lied on the IRS. We know that he has lied on Benghazi. And we know that he has lied on the AP story. So we know he lies. If it's not a lie, then he has no information. He has nothing. Why is the press showing up? If you don't think he's lying, you have to admit he has no credible information. So why are you wasting all of that time talking to him? Why is the White House still wasting time putting him out there? He's proven himself to be incompetent. Or is he part of it that knows what the truth is and he is covered? Because if he's that incompetent, you would say, at some point your employer would say, Jay, listen, man, I mean, you got to get your facts right. Now, who has been talking to you? Who has done these things? Who has said these things? At some point, Jay would have to have some self-respect to say, look, man, I have to tell you something. I am getting my information from the political arm of this White House. I don't meet with the president. Or I do meet with the president, and the president tells me these things. And so I'm taking what the president understands to be true. And I have some self-respect, man. And I've talked to the president myself. The president is stunned, too. He didn't know.
I'd love to
this
see that.
place is out of control. They're not even telling the president, and they're certainly not telling me. But I will tell you this, until it's cleaned up, I'm not going to answer a question because I don't know. Wouldn't some self-respecting person say those very things?
Well, you'd have to have integrity for that.
You'd have to have integrity.
And these guys don't. They just don't.
And that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you don't have look, I understand politics. I understand you have to go out and you have to say the thing that the president wants you to say because you're the spokesperson for the president. But at some point, I mean, Jay Carney could go to jail, couldn't he? Couldn't he be swept up in this? Couldn't he be swept up in...
I don't know, just for lying to the press every day? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's probably a double negative.
Yeah. If he testified...
They're lying to us every day. So.
Yes. If he testified under oath to these things, then he'd be in trouble. But he's not doing that.
Hang on just a second. Doesn't this impede an investigation?
Yeah, you could make that case.
Absolutely, you could make this case. All of these guys have impeded the investigation. They all put the press and everybody else on the wrong track. Yeah. Intentionally put them on the wrong track. And they did it with gusto.
But the American people will never get lathered up about that because they just say, everybody did that. No. Everybody does that. Everybody's White House spokesperson does that.
May I just quote everybody's grandmother or mother? If everybody was jumping off a cliff, does that make it right? Do you do it? No. I mean, what has happened to us? What has happened to us? And, you know, I've been using the analogy all day of antibiotics. That if we don't take all of our antibiotics, if we don't finish the full flight, in other words, clean this mess up on these 3 scandals.
Keep going with it. You can't just let it drop here.
Right. You can't take and say, okay, well, I feel better. Otherwise, that virus becomes stronger. What you've left are the really strong pieces of that infection.
And they'll be resistant to any further antibiotics.
Exactly right. And so they get worse.
Aren't you a doctor?
I've been using that all... Yes, I am.
Okay.
I am a doctor.
Why do you treating viruses with antibiotics then?
Well, you don't.
That's
Not a virus. So I know it's bacteria. I know.
Shut up.
So let me use
the analogy was working. Okay, just go with it.
I know. So now here's the other analogy. Communism. We all thought that we had beaten communism. We all thought that when the wall came down, look at everyone in the world knows the free market works. Everyone knows that Marxism doesn't work. We all know that communism leads to death, but we didn't kill it. It mutated. We let it live. Where? In China. China, communism mutated. And now everyone is saying that the system that produces the people that kill themselves as opposed to go to work in Foxconn, they kill themselves because there's no life, no hope. We have now people saying that is the system of the future. Embrace it. I don't want to embrace that. That one mutated. And the rest of them, Putin, he just took off his KGB uniform and became a raging capitalist. Really? No one was arrested. No one stood trial. No one was held accountable because we were tired. We just wanted it ended. We just wanted it over. And so it mutated. We all took our eye off the ball in the 1960s. We thought, oh, Bill Ayers, okay, well, he was discredited. He was a terrorist. They paid their price. No. And so we stopped paying attention to them. And look what they've done to our children. Look what they put into our school. You must fill the entire prescription. You must take every bit of this medicine. We have to, or it mutates and it gets much worse.